welcome aboard. This is, of course, the Thursday edition of Trading Buddies, and I'm glad you can join us. Ash and I are going to be put to the sword later, I believe. That should be interesting. The quiz about goodness knows what. Well, that'll all be good fun and probably complete embarrassment, but let's see how we go with that. Before that, of course, we've got a whole lot to consider, including a few trades that we are in. Potential pullbacks, I should say potential reversals on those today as the pound strikes back, or it appears to be striking back. Happy Thursday, Paul. We'll go through those in a little bit and see how we can manage those trades if need be. And of course, we do have a new trade or two to consider as well. So we'll go through those, or certainly go through those that I'm looking at, and I'm sure Ash will as well. As always, feel free to contribute at any stage, either by entering into the chat box or by simply putting up your hand and saying, hey, I want to say something. We're only too happy to allow you to do that. That's what it's all about. It's all about sharing information and thoughts. And I'm going to show you something that Jaira said earlier in the week that has pretty much come to fruition. I want to give him a big shout out for what he saw, and we'll go through that in the show as well. Righto, let's start and see if we've got a pound to trade today. As a breakout, anyway. I'm trading the pound like you wouldn't believe at the moment, but not against the US dollar. So we've had the breakout of the week, and there it is. Will it go on with the job? Good question. Don't know. There's a bit of a evening star, I think, is what that's called. I can identify the candles, but I don't know what they're called because I changed my own. I changed my own candles quite often, and I even forget what they're called, but I think that's called an evening star. That would need to be backed up by a lower high, one would think, to be meaningful, and due to the fact that we have broken out of the range, I see no reason why we should be trading a range break today. And you can't see my screen. Can anyone else not see my screen? John's having an issue, I believe. Hang on a second. I'll see if we're actually going where we should be going. You can't see my screen. That's why I'm not sharing. It says I'm screen sharing. Yep, Swee's got it. Paul P's got it. Yep, must be your end, mate. I don't know what's going on there. Cool, thanks, guys. All good, mate. So, okay, no pound breakout trade today. Let's have a look and see what would have happened to the FOMC breakout had you chosen to trade it. There was the top of the range, and I anticipated a 15 pip. This wouldn't look good, I wouldn't think. 15 pips above, actually there was the top of the range there, I think. 15 pips above there would have been 21, 22, so definitely would have been taken into. But the range would have been that big, 65 pips. So you got to get 65 pips before you take TP1. Didn't even get half of that at this point anyway. We'll see how that pans out. FOMC, speaking of FOMC, I didn't look. I got up for this trade, actually. But guess what? I got up an hour after the statement, which is my fault, of course. And had I done so, it was in a pretty good position to take the trade because price was down here when it happened. So pretty much mid-range. I thought that would have been eminently tradable. But it doesn't look that flash at the moment. Back to entry, having only got 1/3 or about there of TP1. So what do? We just do nothing because I'm not in it. But if you are in it, then entirely up to you whether you want to close at entry or whether you want to just see what happens and let it rip and see if it can take off. I'm not a fan of the US dollar, that's for sure. So if I were in this, I'd be wanting to, well, I'd certainly wait to see what happens here, because here we're at a crucial point. Back underneath the daily pivot and retest it. That looks like a short to me as a false break of both the, which is longer term. What is it, daily? Yeah, it's daily. So it's not really relevant on the 30-minute chart, but there's probably something to suggest that, no, there probably wouldn't be anything to suggest that we could play a false break off the 30-minute chart. But it looks to me, if price does get underneath the daily pivot and retest it, that would be a false break, certainly of that high there. We'll see how that pans out. Not really interested in trading it, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I would have to say now, today we saw a few things, but what I did choose today was a pound Aussie trade. Yes, I know, pound. I'm all over the pound. And our entry is here, haven't been triggered in, and prices having a look at the weekly pivot. That's not a bad thing. I don't have a problem with that. What I would have a problem with is if the pound keeps rallying, because that's going to put our stop losses in two cases, trailing stops, or one case trailing stop on pound Swissy. On the other, that would probably result in a loss. So we probably need to look at covering that somehow. And I refer to pound CAD, which I've now taken profit on, of course, looking for this to hit the daily pivot and go south. Pound Swissy, that's the second trade I'm talking about, which ironically, had we traded this bar, we probably would have got TP1, but we haven't got TP1. What did we trade? We did trade that bar. Where was TP? Oh, we've had a very big TP1, that's why. Okay. We decided to trade through this level, which may have been an error. We'll see. If it does get above the weekly pivot, then I think all those pound trades are pretty much shot. The Aussie Cad, however, does look promising at this point. I said yesterday that if this had a long tail on the bottom, this candle, I would certainly look to move my stop loss to entry. I did that. Didn't really have a long tail on it, but enough to bank some money. Yes, we've come underneath the monthly pivot. Yes, we've come underneath the weekly pivot, which really is untested. But I think the momentum here is to the downside. And I think we're going to test this level, at least this level, if we don't go through it. So I don't really have a problem with staying in Aussie CAD at the moment, though I do like to think it can go further. Awareness, how are you doing? I'm doing well. How are you? G'day, Scalper Joe. Who we got in the room here beside it? This is in YouTube I'm looking at. What is my strategy? Well, there's a few strategies that I trade. Mainly freestyle is what I'm trading here at the moment. But, well, I'll explain to you how I got into this trade, shall I? Maybe that's the way to go. What I do look for is on a weekly chart and a daily chart, things that have certain characteristics. Those characteristics are these. And it doesn't matter what you call them. You can call them anything you like. But this is what we're trading here on this particular trade. We're trading that bar there, which is, in my humble opinion, a thing called a key reversal. And what that means is the high of this bar is higher than the previous bar's high, and it's closed on or near its low. That, in a nutshell, is why I've traded this. And there has to be certain criteria around that, of course. You just don't pick something in isolation, in particular a candle. You don't pick I don't pick a candle in isolation and trade it. There has to be a reason. And this is jam-packed full of them, really. This one here is a lower high based on that bearish engulfing bar. It's also a rejection of the weekly pivot. It's also got what I call an insurance entry, which is underneath both the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot. So it had all of those things going for it. It also had going for it on the weekly chart, as you can see here, exactly the same scenario where we've had a bearish engulfing bar, double top if you want as well, and a candle whose high is higher than the previous day and who's closed on or near its low. Again, I call that a key reversal bar. So I'm looking for this to play that out. It may be that we don't get as far as I want it to get. Of course, I'm looking for a reversal here. So I'm looking for price down here at some stage. But primarily, that's the strategy that I'm trading at the moment. I'm trading a combination of reversal bars, really, and we got a couple of them on the weekly and on the daily. And when all the stars line up, that's how it works. The other pairs, pound Swissy, pretty much exactly the same thing. We've been in pound Swissy since this little bar here. We traded that one short, and this was our second position that we're currently in. That's looking under threat, but the first position, of course, is safe, and we have banked on that. So same, really. Both of those positions are very much the same thing.
Sorry, mate. But good morning, by the way.
Hello, Ash. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, good. Just to let everybody know, I'm building into a FTSE 100 long at this stage. Let me show you my charts.
Cool.
Now it's okay to build in here. The price has taken off a little bit, but that's okay. It's just going to be how we manage the trade. So let me just bring this in. Okay.
You're welcome, awareness, by the way.
All right, here we go. What we want is this. What we want is this. So let's have a look at this. So as I say, I'm building into a long position here on the FTSE, but I'll continue to build in long. And this area here, that the 7,000 is an obvious take profit, but because it's a long position, what I'll probably do there is, rather than close the position, I'll probably just take a hedge in the opposite direction, just to leave this one open. And then if it bursts through, I'll close both of them. But if it comes down a little bit, my idea would be just to kind of just to see how far it comes down, put that one that stop at break even. It's likely to find a little bit of problem up here, because when we look at this, and what I've done is I've gone in a very small position here, but what I'm really after is this price down here. And if you want the stop area, it's going to be under the trend line down here. So these are the futures. So the amounts are slightly different, but you know, the idea is just to kind of start buying the FTSE 100 up a little bit, and seeing if there's upside, at least to the push to the highs. Now, the issue with the FTSE is, and I was drawing this longer term trend line here. The issue with the FTSE is that this is if I can see this. Yeah, you can see it here. This is a primary trend line. So this is a monthly chart, a primary trend line, and a break to the downside. So technically speaking, the FTSE should be going down here. But if anybody heard Jerome Powell's speech yesterday, it was incredibly accommodative, and it doesn't suggest at this stage that these equities are going anywhere but higher. So there's no downward catalyst is the thing with this. So what I like to do is build into the position small, and effectively use it to probably grow it, you know, rather than doing anything else. And I've done the same with the Aussie Yen. You know, the Aussie yen, many of you probably would have got stopped out, and on my other account I have got stopped out. But as I explained before a few weeks ago, I'm not closing this position, because what I'm doing really, in a way, the FTSE long is a hedge against this. So what I'm doing with this one is building into the short, and I'll continue to go short right up until 88.50. So I'm leaving that one on. So the 84.80, I think we had it down as the stop area for me, is a mental stop rather than a physical stop. I'm not convinced it's going higher from this point, but it should do. So rather than close this position, as I say, I've taken the position in the FTSE for a long. So as I say, it's a hedge. It's a hedge against this, because this drive to the upside currently looks like a global looks like global confidence, in the overall economy. So if this goes higher, then what we'll see is the Aussie yen potentially go higher, and we'll see the FTSE go higher. So what I can do is hold on to this position while if they both pop to the upside. So the FTSE will protect it to a degree, and then just wait for the downside. Now, if the downside comes, what I will do is probably hold the FTSE long, rather than closing it. Now, I know you guys trade differently to me, so this is why I give you the stop areas. But I'm explaining my process just in case you want to kind of move on to a different way of trading. So I'm using two asset classes that effectively generally point in the same direction. Aussie yen points up because it is a risk-on currency pair. The FTSE points up because it's a risk-on currency pair. Now, if I take a short in the Aussie yen, but a long in the FTSE, one position's hedged against the other. Now, if the global economy looks like it's bullish, the FTSE will pop higher, as will the Aussie yen, balancing the two of them out. But if it comes down, then the Aussie yen should come down, as will the FTSE. And what it means is that, because ultimately I think the market will be going up, it means that I can hold on to my FTSE long and build into a position lower and use this as a hedge against the move to the downside. So that's what's going on, mate. The obvious areas, as I say, with the FTSE is the absolute high that we saw a few days ago, if not yesterday. And at that point, then we can reassess and have a look. Now, if the FTSE's unable to break through here, if it's unable to break through these highs after today, because we've had that Jerome Powell speech, I think there could be a little bit of concern right around the market. If the FTSE does collapse from here, there's concern, because Jerome Powell has basically given a blank check to say, go ahead and buy equities. Go ahead and be confident about about growth. Now, longer term and down the line, this is a very, very dangerous position for the central banks to be taking, and governments to be taking, because the printing of money and the buying of bond purchases, really kind of with an open checkbook, is kicking the issue of the debt levels that have been created down the road. Now, what governments want is inflation, because if they get inflation, that means the dollar today is worth less than it will be in the future. So the dollar in the future will be worth more, but the debt stays the same. So that means they can pay it off a lot easier. So they want inflation, but for a consumer does not want inflation. And the reason the consumer doesn't want inflation is because unless there's wage growth, that means that their dollar or their pound today is worth more in the future, then they're actually going to be in further debt, because the money in their pocket is shrinking, but their debt remains the same. So inflation is a very, very fine balance that they're striking, but the amount of money which is being sloshed around is just it will break at some point. Now, it doesn't appear that the timing today is right for that to happen. It looks like the break is getting, as I say, kicked further down the road. which is why we're seeing a bit of a bounce in the FTSE today. And as I say, it may well continue. We might be looking at this right up until definitely the end of the week. Now, I wonder what happens next week because we do head into May. The sell in May, walk away little rhyme is a bit of a misnomer, because I think I looked yesterday, and the Dow over the last 5 years had a 0.2% loss in May over the last 5 years, and I think the S&P is actually up. So it is a very misleading statement. But we do head into a new month, so it's possible that we get a little bit of downside going into the new month. So we'll see what happens. But that's why I'm doing that. So.
And I'm glad you gave us a little bit of a rundown of what Jerome Powell said, because I got up too late. I was 1 hour too late getting out of bed. Otherwise, I was going to trade the breakout, which set up actually. I notice we've got a couple of people in the room with some ideas here. Scalper Joe, do you want to share some of those things with us?
Scalper Joe, yeah, Scalper Joe was in yesterday. I can't because he's not in Zoom. Angel, do you mind posting the questions directly in Zoom so I can see them? I'm not on YouTube, so any comments, could you post them in here, and then I can see them too.
Well, you can answer this question for awareness, and I don't know who awareness is, but what is the point of hedging? Were you talking about hedging there a minute ago? I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So the point of hedging is this, and you've got to be careful with hedging. So I'll give you a brief idea about it, but be careful, because it's not something that I would suggest beginner traders do by any stretch. It's a difficult technique sometimes to follow. Why does this keep opening up here?
Don't know. Hey, Subra, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you in the room.
Oh yeah, come on into Zoom, Scalper Joe. That'd be great. Then you can come online. Why is this doing this? Let me just move it out of the way. Okay, right. So let's say this is for me the benefit of hedging. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. It's just all right. Hold on, mate. I can't write it on there. It doesn't want to do it, does it? Doesn't normally do that to me. Doesn't ask me for some sort of licensing or passwords, but it's doing it today.
Awareness, were you referring to what's the point of hedging in that particular case, or in general?
I can't close it now. Okay, doesn't matter. I should be able to...
Scalper Joe, I've got to say, you give me heart palpitations.
Right.
2-minute charts? My God. I'm so too old for that.
Right, let's say...
I would like to see it in operation. That would be good.
So in that particular case, okay. In that particular case. So in the particular case of hedging, so in general, okay. So let's talk about hedging generally. Let's say I believe in the asset class that I'm trading. So let's talk about the FTSE. I believe the FTSE goes up. I believe the FTSE is going to go up, and I get a really good price on it. Now, this is a general sort of like thing. So if I get a really good price on the FTSE, and I get in somewhere around about here, so this is the first step. The first step is you need something to be moving in your direction, right? So this is moving. You need to trigger your trade first of all. So you've got your trade going on. Now that trade starts to move to the upside, and what you see is a level. A level that you think could cause a problem here. And so let's mark this off. Now, what I want to do at this point. Now, you can obviously hedge just on the on this particular on the same asset class if you like. So the idea with a hedge is that if I think that the overall movement can go beyond this point, in fact, let's just talk about from this asset class. If I think the overall movement go beyond this point, so I'm thinking that the FTSE 100 is still relatively inexpensive here, and if I looked on longer term timeframes, that's exactly what I'd see. So I'm looking for the FTSE 100 to continue to go higher, but what I see is some potential weakness. What I can do at this particular point is take, so I've got my long down here. I've entered long here, and the market's gone up to this level, and I'm holding onto my long. So what I can now do is sell here, but keep this long. So I'm not going to get rid of the long. And what that means is if the market comes down, then the position that I've got here between here and here is protected. You know, it doesn't matter what happens here. Let's say that this particular area has made me $1,000. Because I've got both a long and a short in the market, this one is cancelled by this one, but it's still live. So now that $1,000 is secure, and it comes down to this point here. Now the long is down. So I've got $1,000 long. Now the long is down, let's say $250, okay? Which means that the long is in play. It's up by 750. Now the short is up by 250. Okay, so now I've got my 750 plus my 250, so I've still got my $1,000. Now, if I think the FTSE is still going up, I can do one of two things here. I can take my profit and secure the 250, and then if it keeps coming down, then that's what I'm going to get. I've got my stop now at break even down here. That's what I'm going to get. Or I can put a stop on the sell after it's fallen, and that protects the position. So if it comes all the way, it doesn't matter how far it comes down. I've got no sweat because my 1,000 is protected. As long as it doesn't come down and hit that lower line, as soon as it goes up again, this is closed off and the long is back in play. So that's the reason that hedging is really useful, because it just secures the profit that you've got, and it means that you can. Now, really, hedging's much better when you actually own the asset class. So I've got a stock portfolio as well. So what I prefer to do is have a stock of a company. So let's say I own BP. So if I buy BP and I buy it down here, and it gets up to this level, the only way that I can secure profit is if I close the position. Right, I have to close BP to realize my profit. All back in the case of the FTSE, I'd have had to close the position. But what I can do instead of closing the position is make some money on a move down. So then I spread bet BP here. So I've opened BP, but I've actually bought shares. So I've bought the shares in BP, and I want to keep those because they pay a dividend. Now I spread bet the downside here. Spread bet short, and that means I can claim some money while still holding on to BP at no risk. Now, if it goes higher, then you either have to put a stop in place on your sell order to realize the profit, or you have to close both the positions and say, okay, I picked the high wrong. Let's move on to another stock. And that's just going to be down to personal experience and personal taste, the way you would do it from there. So the reason that I want to hedge is because I don't want to close this Aussie yen short. I want to keep my Aussie yen short, and I want to keep it up to this point here. But it's going to cost me money while I'm shorting. So if I hedge it out with buying the FTSE, then I can create some kind of balance between losing the money on the short and making some money on the long, up until the next point. Now, the reason I don't want to close my Aussie yen short is fairly multiple, but one of the reasons is because, in fact, I'll show you. Let me bring these up. Timing the market is very difficult. And because I appreciate timing the market is difficult, then what I will try and do is hold on to things until they realise the position that I believe it's going to go in. Now, if it doesn't go in that way, if I'm hedged, then I'm not so exposed. And at some point, I'm going to have to pick a point where I say this isn't coming down. So I'm going to have to close both positions. I prefer to take the profit on the sideway and wait for a nice pullback. Yeah, that's relevant. You know what? And it is personal. You know, I don't think there are many other
courses, isn't it? That's
yeah, it is. It is. It's just the way that it's the way that I've found that I make better money and I make better decisions because it gives me headspace, and that's just my personality. But there are so many different ways, you know, that I will take different approaches when it comes down to markets. But this is the reason I want to hold on to the Aussie yen. And it's a long-term position. So what I'm using here is the COT data for the Aussie. So I'm looking at the Australian dollar, and what I see with the Australian dollar is the index down at its lows. I won't go into massive detail about how to read the COT data, but let's just focus on the index. And when the index is near 0, it suggests weakness. When it's near 100, it suggests strength. And this is a weekly time frame. These are on weekly time frame. This is on a weekly basis. But look what happened here. This is suggesting strength, and there was some strength. Okay, it didn't change the trend, but there was a little bit of strength. But ultimately, the Aussie really did crash to the downside. But eventually, it created a really nice trend to the upside. Now here, what we see is a lovely trend to the downside. So more often than not, it ends up being pretty good, but you just don't know. And I suspect without COVID, this probably would have turned somewhere in this area and started moving higher. But COVID produced something, you know, quite extreme. So the Aussie had to come down a lot further. So on a normal environment, this is going to work out fairly well. Now, we do see the Aussie weakening a little bit, but not massively. Now, if I then compare it to the yen, what I see with the yen is the index, which is starting to pop up, and there's been an extreme move to the upside as well with the yen. So I quite like the potential play between the two of them. Now, the other thing that I've got with the Aussie is this is the seasonality. This is the seasonal chart here, and what I've got is in May, when it comes down to May, the Aussie tends to be quite weak throughout May. But there is a little bit of upside just before we get there. Now, what that says to me is that the timing might be off, and it's going to be hard to time this. But we do tend to. It's not definite, but we tend to get some weakness in May. So I've got COT data.
That's a perfect illustration, isn't it? Really, of risk off or sell in May.
Yes, exactly. Because
Aussie's the risk on currency.
Exactly, and then when we look at a risk off currency, which is the yen, then the yen, okay, it takes a little while, but really it looked like the yen sort of starts to bottom out around about March, and then we go on this nice little move to the upside. But it does get a little bit sticky, but you can see the first few weeks in May does tend to go up, and then it weakens a bit, and then it pops up again. So the COT data is...
You don't want to be first in, Ash, you know.
No. No, you don't. No, you don't want to be first in, exactly. But and maybe I am. And when it comes down to what happened yesterday with Jerome Powell, it would certainly suggest that that I might well be first in, because the markets are really buoyant at the minute. But I don't want to panic. You know, I don't want to panic and say, okay, well, this Aussie yen trade is just not going to work out, because there's probably enough out there to suggest it could, but I just don't know. I don't know when. I think that the fact that we've got spiking cases in India, and we've got an economy which is making up near 7% of global GDP, effectively in a hiatus right now, suggests that there's going to be some issue at some point. Now, we've also got the Jerome Powell tax issue as well, which is floating around. So there'll be something, but in the same way that I would look at Bitcoin, markets just don't tend to do this without any kind of pullback. And there hasn't been. Look at the way the Aussie has been moving. The Aussie Yen's been moving. It's just been, almost. It's almost got too much energy to the upside, and eventually things get tired. And why do they get tired? Because at some point there will be people that aren't willing to pay more money. Now, if you think about the market structure, one thing I don't like, and I've used it in the past myself, but it's a complete mistake to say there are more buyers in the market than there are sellers here. Well, that's an impossibility. There can't be more buyers, because if you've got one car, 10 buyers can't all buy that car. So it doesn't matter if there are more buyers than there are sellers. What matters is that there is one particular buyer who is prepared to pay more for whatever product is on offer, which is what pushes prices up. And what pushes prices down is one particular seller, or in most cases a group of sellers who are willing to sell for less than the previous price. That's that's why we get sort of like movements in the markets. People are prepared to pay more, or people are prepared to sell for less. Now, at some point, when you get a move like this, there is going to be a large group of people that will say, "I'm not willing to pay. I'm not prepared to pay more now. I'm done with my buying of the Aussie Yen. I'll go and look for another product or an asset class that I can get better value on." So in my opinion, we're getting close to that level, and I would have thought 88.50 would be the absolute level. Now, if it goes through there, then I need to close the position completely. But that's why I'm aiming up there. But we're only at 84 right now, so we are talking about another 5% rise. Now, a 5% rise in an asset class is fairly seismic. So I don't want to be caught out on a position that's going to go up 5% against me. So the best way for me to do that is to hedge the position with a belief that at some point this is going to run out of steam. So that's why I do it. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but that's why I do it.
Mate, I've got to give a massive shout out. G'day, Gyra. How you doing, mate? To Gyra, and it's perfect timing. Couldn't be better. On Monday or Tuesday, might have been Tuesday. I can't remember which day. No, it might have been Monday, I think. Gyra said to me, and I'm going to pinch the screen for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
And we were in Aussie Yen trades, right? Myself included. But my trade should have got TP1 and break-even trade. I wasn't that lucky. But he said to me, why don't we have a look at Kiwi Yen and look at the market structure or the structure of the chart? So we did that, and I couldn't see in the first instance exactly what he was trying to tell me. He was talking about the rising channel, and I played with it for a little bit, just like this. And I thought, really can't see it. But that's what he could see. He could see the top of this channel. Now, he could see two highs, and that's exactly my criteria for drawing a channel. And he said this would be an excellent hedge for the Aussie Yen trade. If we can pick up a Kiwi Yen long to trade that range, that would successfully hedge the Aussie Yen. So perfect timing that we're talking about hedging. That would have been ideal. And Gyra, I'm not sure if you did it, and I hope I didn't talk you out of it, but I just couldn't see that at the time. All I could see at the time was this chart structure, big double top and a lower high. But I would say this, I was wrong, because this lower high was at a dreadful and untradeable position. You can't trade there because of the monthly pivot, and the pivots are all just congested. Mate, I've got to dip my lid to you. That's an excellent call, and gee whiz, you've taught us all a lesson there. Thank you very much. Well done. That's what Trading Buddies is all about.
Yeah, Yeah, and it is a great hedge. You know, Aussie Kiwi is a great hedge against the Aussie Yen, and another one. And you can do it. It can be quite tricky to trade currency pair versus currency pair, and the reason for that is that the variables are multiplied because you have, if you're trading, you know, one of the most kind of common hedges is taking two companies that are in the same sector. So you might trade BP long and Shell short because you believe that BP is going to outperform. And then if they both come down, then Shell should come down more. So it's a common kind of a technique to take two shares. But when you're talking about crosses, the issue is, let's say you've got the Aussie yen and the Kiwi yen. Then if the yen is bullish, then the Aussie will go down and the Kiwi will go down, and your position is nicely hedged. If the Aussie is bullish, then the Kiwi and the Aussie may well go up against the yen, so you are hedged. But if the Aussie has something specific about it as an economy, then you might find that if you've gone short Aussie yen but long Kiwi yen, you might find that that the Aussie starts to pump to the upside, but the Kiwi doesn't follow because the Aussie is the one that has
trouble. That's true.
Yeah. So you got to be careful, but I think from a macro perspective, it's a valid way to trade. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Oh, you're not disturbing us at all. Awareness. This is what we do all day. Just chat.
He's telling me that he didn't trade it, and of course the Aussie yen got stopped out. So, mate, I'm so sorry, but your point is absolutely valid. The lesson of the day is listen to your buddy with caution. The lesson of the day is absolutely that, and we've always said that. You know, it's very much a case of take it on board, but don't make it the law. That's the whole point. And sharing information will always make you better, always, because you then see that there is another side. Trust yourself, absolutely, Lewis. We've always said that as well. If you've got an opinion and it's valid and it's got good reason and good technical reasons and good fundamental reasons, absolutely follow it. But for absolute certain, be aware that there is another side to it. And that's why we don't trade 50% of our account on one trade, because there is no certainty.
Yeah.
You look up the definition of what we're actually doing. We're gambling, right? Because we're actually investing in something upon which we don't know the outcome. If you look that up in the dictionary, it's called gambling. What we're trying to do here is get it into a situation where we're trading the more probable outcome than not. That's the whole point. Being shy, I tend to listen to my elder. Piss off, Gyro.
Okay. So we've got the quiz today, mate. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, we've got to. No, I'm not. We've got to have a little bit of time for Scalper Joe, because he had some information to share with us. We're going to share that, Scalper Joe.
Can you get in Zoom?
And the answer to whose question? How long have you been trading? Awareness's question. I'm in my 14th year of trading. I only trade currencies. Ooh, quiz. Hello, eh? And Ash, I think you're probably 1 year ahead of me, weren't you? 15 years?
Yeah. Been trading a long time. Yeah. And it really is it's a journey of evolution. You know, you're kind of always you're always learning, and you're always sort of like doing, I suppose, experimenting with different approaches. And this is the difficulty, really, is that during the experimental phase, we're going to get things wrong. And this is why I'd encourage anybody that is new to something like hedging, as an example, to take it on very, very little risk, because what you don't want is to set yourself back years because you've burnt up your account, which what you think is a good idea with no research. And that Ainsley's in the room, and I can see Ainsley's there ready for the quiz, which is amazing. What you don't want to do is set yourself back years because you burnt up your account, and it really is sort of like probably the biggest mistake of anybody stepping into this forum is to be too confident about what they think is correct. To survive in the market for a year is tough, but year on year on year on year, it's harder and harder. And the reason isn't because of knowledge. The main reason that people just collapse is because of their mental strength to be able to control their mentality sufficiently as to not risk too much, as to trade their techniques properly, as to research properly as well, rather than just going out with a general idea of what you think could be right without really knowing what you're stepping into. So I'd encourage everybody to really sort of is to find a niche, find an area that they can try and become as close to an expert in as they possibly can. Ainsley's a great example. She's an expert in trading gold and oil, and she very much sticks on that particular path. Shukri is is an expert at trading cryptocurrencies, but you don't really hear him kind of stepping into another area very often. Jeff's expertise, I would suggest, is certainly the strategy and knowing the strategy inside and out. But I would think that particularly the euro, the dollar, and the pound, the Kiwi, and the Aussie are probably currency pairs that he's very, very familiar with. So you've got to give yourself time to do that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're not in tomorrow. Scalper Joe, but come in next week by all means.
That'd be awesome on Monday because I won't be here, right?
Oh no, you won't be in. Yeah. Come in on Monday. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Have a good scalping session on Monday.
Yeah, that'd be good.
David, if I can address your question, you've been in it for 4 years and not made much progress. I would absolutely differ to your opinion, because if you're still here after 4 years, you've made progress. It means you've either got one of two things: a very big bank account, or you've learned something, right? You've learned how not to lose. And I think that's probably the most important thing. I'll share with you that it took me at least 5 years before I could get to that level. But suddenly it just went bingo, light comes on. It's not about how much I can win. It's actually about how much I don't lose. And that was the light bulb moment for me, because I then started to protect my capital rather than think, oh, just another $1,000, who gives a shit, Once you have that knowledge of how not to lose, then you can move forward, and that becomes it's just a big weight off your shoulders. How you come to that is different for every person, and a lot of people don't get there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get there, and that's a sad thing. But tenacity is certainly one of the attributes that you need. But awareness, and a great word, or a great tag you've got there, awareness, is knowing that there is a way, and the way forward is to stop losing, and then work out how to turn that into progressive wins. So
absolutely,
stick with it, bud.
I've just seen Scalper Joe just saying 100% thanks for the invite. Nowhere near as informed as you both, but happy to share. And this is where you're probably making a mistake, mate, because this is my point: is that Jeff and I may well be informed in an area.
Yeah, we've got our own things.
Yeah, but we certainly won't know. And we probably know very little about what you're doing. So anything that you do share will be new knowledge and new information for us. So it'd be fantastic for you to come in and say, if you're scalping and trading 2-minute charts. I do look at the minute chart, to be honest, and I do like the odd scalp, but it's not my kind of go-to. So if that is your out and out approach, there's no doubt that you will have something in there that Jeff and I just aren't aware of. So you know, uh, I suppose don't feel that that you won't have anything new to offer, because you absolutely will. You know, there'll be something that you say that that Jeff and I wouldn't have considered before. So you know, and that's what we're here to do.
That's very much part of it as well. I sat in a room similar to this every single day for 3 years, and I started to think, hang on a minute, there's something there that I'm seeing that this guy's not. Gyra, hello. And I started to come up with a different method of using trend lines that he was using, and I called them trade lines, and they are what I use to this day. But the whole thing was, I was learning a part of a system, but I was able to realize and recognize that that system could have been improved just by doing this one thing. And I can't tell you how important it is to have trading buddies, so that you get all of these, different views and different visions as to how to actually trade and or manipulate your own account. It's super important. Wow, I'm seeing a great head and shoulders on Euro dollar M30.
Can I add just to what you guys have said? Hi everyone, it's me again.
Hello,
Hey,
Golden
nice
Girl.
to be here. Absolutely right. Get a good trading buddy. Community, it's amazing which pearls of wisdom you can take away. It doesn't matter. I personally can't do a 2-minute chart. I can't process that information. I'm too slow. But people add these thinking that they, they don't have this wealth of experience. The only thing we've done is probably made the same mistake over, 9 million more times, and can actually say, nah, don't do it. So you get to shortcut it. But it's going to all of those things. And as Jeff has said, you can pick up one thing from somebody else and develop your own strategy, and with your own niche. Like I said, I like gold, and I'm actually really getting to like that copper thing, which is also shiny. I also like another shiny metal. What a surprise. But it helps you develop into being your own trader, and that becomes what you sell further on.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's a skill. You don't go to a surgeon who is a jack of all trades. He won't operate on your foot and then say, hey, let's do some brain surgery while we're at it. So you become quite specialized, and you start to read how the market moves and get in sync. I had a couple of months off when I wasn't well. It was February, March, and it's taken me all of April just to get back in sync with how the market's moving again in oil and in gold, and what's happening. And wasn't that a beautiful bounce off a golden cross on gold yesterday, by the way, Ash? Just
yeah, well, I did see. Yeah, do you know what? I picked it completely wrong. I was looking for the Fed to come and say something that would drive the dollar higher, and it just didn't happen. I took a euro dollar short, and I apologize for anybody that saw the post, because I saw something during that short that meant that I could get out before it turned against me. But I couldn't type it quick enough because it was so fast that the information was I was just having to process and trade it in front of me. But that dollar was an absolute dog in the end. Even though in saying that, gold is still it.
That's really what trading buddies are for, mate.
That's right.
Just
looking at the comment about the strategies don't make you money. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, spot on.
And capital preservation is something I've bleated on about for years and years and years. But unless you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter. One, you either won't take the trade because you have no belief in what you're doing. And two, how can you risk manage something that you don't have a strategy about? You have to have something systematic that you can apply with regular. Well, that's my opinion. You've got to be able.
No, you're absolutely right, A. And do you know what? I was going to address David's point on that. David, what you're saying about you you're close to giving up, then I would give it another go and think about what it is that you're missing. And I suspect, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I often am, but I suspect maybe your analysis of your own performance probably isn't being done. And this is where Excel plays a massive part. If you can get used to analyzing your trades, if you're going to like strip back and start again, don't strip back and start again by making the same mistake of just going right, let's trade this strategy. Trade it systematically, as Ainsley said. And the only way you can do that is by making sure that you go through the process of writing your trades down and analyzing the data and analyzing the numbers. This is what we are. We're meant to be technical analysts, fundamental analysts. Put that into your own kind of performance as well. Technically analyze your performance by doing your spreadsheet and writing down your trades and your reason for the trades. And if you need some help in putting together a spreadsheet, then let us know. We'll have a show where we cover some of the aspects of that. But money management has helped in backtesting better than strategy. But when people say money management on YouTube, it's vague. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do things that way, but learning that that's the right way to do it, you have to write those numbers down in a spreadsheet and have a look. Because is it, to split the entries into 2 and exit half at 1 to 1, that is a one approach, but it's not the only approach. That's not the only way. I don't do things that way personally, but that's because my personal researcher said to me, I need to approach things this way because it works for myself. So I would get started properly by going, right, I am now going to log everything, and I'm gonna approach the market like a professional and log everything, rather than trading on a trade by trade basis where I'm hoping this is going to work. You need to be able to go out of 30 to 60 to 90 to whatever 120 trades. This particular technique makes me this amount of money. And if it doesn't, then something needs to be tweaked. But you can only see that when you analyze it in numbers. So,
and I don't use that method either, because generally, it depends on what you're trading, but generally your entries will be visible, if not popular. And if you're exiting at 1 to 1, then your exits will be visible, if not popular. And for that reason, I would consider going 0.9 to 1 or even 0.85 to 1, because your exit points or your take profit points are probably going to be very, very common. And if they're common, they're able to be, I won't say manipulated, but I'll say manipulated. It's pretty much the case. Because, and look, everyone thinks it's the brokers or skullduggery going on there. It's not skullduggery. It's actually people who recognize levels and who push prices through levels to gain liquidity. They've got more money than you and me, right? And that's why it happens. It's not because the brokers take out their spreads by 2 pips. Yes, they do at inconvenient times. There's no question about that. But they're not looking over your shoulder generally, trying to get you.
It's the market makers. The market makers are doing that, because what happens when you see the price going up, from an emotional point of view, you want to buy it. So what the market makers know is if they push prices up, people go, right, I'm in. So they jump in, and then all of a sudden they just can dump all their positions. Because as I was saying, there is no such thing as more buyers and more sellers. You need an equal amount. So what they need to do is create buyers. And the best way to do that is by pushing prices up in with a lack of liquidity, and then all of a sudden everybody dives in because they think price is going to start flying, and then they can just cut their positions and they can sell it to an unrefined investor or trader. So So yeah, absolutely, mate. It's really interesting seeing that kind of thing actually. Which actually that happened yesterday with the euro, and that was the significant thing. I could show you on a chart, but it might be a bit confusing. So maybe we shouldn't go down that particular.
And you look at the Bitcoin chart and have a look how many liquidity grabs there are there on the way up. Beautiful little double bottoms at the bottom of a retracement, and bam, straight through those lows and gone. Amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. So are we at quiz time? Yeah, we got to be at quiz time. John, are you there, buddy?
Quiz.
Awesome. You want to come on camera? You are the quiz master. I'm going to be writing my I've got my pad here, John, and my pen. You ready, A? You got a pad and pen? There's John.
Move the wine glass that way. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Right. John, do you need PowerPoint or is this just verbal? You're muted at the minute, buddy. I don't know if that's you or can we give John power?
How are we answering this, by the way?
Oh, no, I'm on. I don't use PowerPoint. I'm a Mac man. I've got Keynote, but it's the same jazz. You need to screen share or whatever it is.
Okay,
or I can just do a verbal if you wish.
No, mate. Let's do screen share. No, well, let's do it. Let's do it the professional way and do it properly. So, screen share. Can John get powers? Angel, has he got screen share?
This will be a first.
Do you know how to screen share, John?
I haven't got a clue, but there we go. That's like most things that I've done today.
Okay, you can thank you, Angel.
Everyone's ignoring me. How are we answering?
Well, it would be pretty cool if you just tap it in the old chat box.
Okay.
Yeah. Quizmaster.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Slight rules for the game. The questions and the answers are there. They be the questions. They be the answers. There's no arguing. Spelling is optional.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. So, John, have you got?
How do you spell "don't know"?
Back in the class, Jeff. Back in the class.
Deoff.
Jeff, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
John, are you able to, if you scroll over your screen so you can see Jeff's chart, then at the bottom you should see a tab which says screen share.
Oh, the Jeff's chart. That's interesting.
Well, over the Zoom, over what you can see on Zoom. So if you scroll over the Zoom screen, just put your mouse on it. At the bottom, you should see screen share.
To the right of the chat box. Oh, to the right of the chat.
Screen share. On which one? Gosh, it's quite fun.
What have you got? Can you see mute, stop video, security, participants?
Security participants chat, screen share.
There you go.
Bingo.
Hit that thing, and what do I do? Continue.
And then select which screen it is that you want to share, and then hit share at the bottom right.
Okay. Continue. Oh, we are showing that.
So you guys on YouTube can play.
Can you see
if Angel, if you're quick enough, put their answers in the chat room. That gives you. Oh, look at that! Brain power time. It's so the name of the quiz, John, is what is it called? I can't remember now.
I can't remember what you called it. Was it Buddy?
I can't remember either. This'll do. This'll do. Okay. All right.
Okay. So here we go. Question number 1. Which 2 countries joined Australia and New Zealand in creating a travel bubble?
Oh no! I've just sent my answer to Angel.
That's even worse.
I'm gonna be slow now. Who am I going to send it to? Everyone in meeting. I'm going to be behind.
Yeah, you're not going to be behind. I'm going to be behind because I'm like Mr. Slowman.
There you go.
What have we got?
Oh, excellent.
Sorry, I'm just doing the scoring. I don't want to cause
Scoring's a bastard, John.
Jeff's normally the scorer. See,
this is like scoring in a cricket match when you get it wrong to somebody and that's it. It's the end of your friendship because you've missed out on a few runs.
I used to get into trouble when what do I put when a wide actually scores 3 runs? How many runs does he get? How do I write that down? I know what you're saying.
All right.
Miss my list. Oh yeah.
Don't worry. Everybody can keep their own scores, John. That's the easiest way to do it. If you get a question right, just give yourself one, and
Okay,
at the end,
you-
tell John how many you got
Frank,
right and wrong.
you should have
Don't
put
worry about it.
down Singapore and Hong Kong.
Yay!
Yay!
Did you get that right, Jeff?
I did.
Oh,
And way before you did.
having a quick scan down there. Everybody got that one right. Okay, you had to be on Tuesday's show, but you might get this one. Which meme coin was Shukri talking about on the Tuesday show? He was happy to get wrecked with this coin,
yeah.
but only for talking about at the bar.
Okay, which meme coin? What meme coin was Shukri talking about on Tuesday's show?
I had to look up this one for myself. They'll get it, and they don't care if they lose all their money.
It's going to $1 on when? May 4th.
Jeff's on the money. Quick, get him to the bookies.
Do you know what? I can see the answers in, and to be honest, I wouldn't have even been able to hazard a guess. I'm going to say I got that one wrong.
Had no idea. I wasn't on the show.
I wasn't either. After that, I was trying to think.
Okay, yeah, Sweet's right. Cuba's right. Jeff is at the races. John's right. Gary's got it. Paul P's got it. Dogecoin.
And it's no excuse if you weren't here. You could watch the replay.
I prefer your background, actually.
See what I'm organising at the moment, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you got a party to organise.
I've got a party. The party's happening, Ash. Can you pop on a plane, honey?
Oh, what? No, well, apparently not. I think we've
no, not in the travel bubble, and nor are we in Malaysia. Question 3. Which football club won the League Cup for the 4th year in succession?
Well, I know that, John. I tell you what, my club were against them.
Oh, I think we have a grudge match coming up. I'm a Wolves supporter.
Are you?
Yes. Yeah.
No idea, but I'll put something down there.
Okay, who's got? Oh, sweet. Close. Jeff. No.
They're red. They'll do.
That's very close. I did think of another question on.
They're not red. They're not red, Jeff.
Liverpool.
Which 3
they are.
clubs of the breakaway 6 have American backers? But I didn't put that one in. Manchester.
Oh yeah, that would have been quite nice. That would have been Man United. Sorry, that would have been
Man United, Liverpool,
and Liverpool.
Arsenal.
Kroenke, is he American?
Apparently, I didn't realise.
Oh, I thought he was okay.
That's why I didn't put it in. I wasn't sure. Okay, question number 4. Which of the 8 major central banks are currently using negative interest rates?
Ooh.
Yeah. I've got to put the first one, then the second one.
Ooh. I knew that this type of question might cause a bit of argy-bargy at the bar, so I'll put the information in that I got it from. I've got it down as the Bank of Japan and the Swiss National Bank.
Oh.
On the information I've got on my screen. I wasn't sure on the European.
That might be right, mate. I'm not sure either on the second one. Definitely.
I had all 3 too. Just telling Sway.
So Swiss National Bank, Bank of Japan, and then
I
the
forgot those guys.
People may have put down the European. Yes, Sweet. I didn't put down the European.
Well, it's not positive, is it?
No, but it's not negative either. I didn't put a negative sign there. But
you didn't give that.
Remember what I said at the beginning of the quiz. There, yeah. See.
So we have to give ourselves half for the yen and SFA for the euro.
Yeah.
Right. 2.5 for me. Got it.
Okay, here we go. Which BRIC economy is currently experiencing massive rises in COVID-19 infection rates? that has the potential to slow global GDP and vaccine production?
What economy? Sorry, the first one?
BRIC economy.
BRIC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, everybody seems to. Yeah,
I'm as thick as a.
Yes, that's been my go-to stance all day. Yes.
Yes, India.
Question number 6. Which country has just taken steps to limit or ban the use of cryptos in its country?
Oh, I do know that.
Last night, after you left.
Oh,
Yeah, we were talking about it, weren't we?
Oh gosh, we're going to go for Turkey. Turkey have actually done the business.
One more and I pass. Awesome. Never expected that.
It's quite tough trying to get. I did have some questions that did. I was setting them out on yesterday because Ainsley was in, and then Ainsley said, "Oh, I might join her." I thought, right, I've only met Ainsley once. Yeah, it's a quiz. She'll want to win. She'll be there. take those questions out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tesla has just made a nice profit.
Oh,
what?
Sorry, Tesla's made a nice.
Yeah, they did. They made a
not
nice
selling
profit.
cars.
But what they sold is a little bit. It's a little bit of a tricky question. Paul P's on the money. Yes, Gary's got it as well. Yeah, Jeff's in. Squeeze in. Oh, this is quite easy then. Bitcoin.
Ta-da!
Although I quite like, there was a little tweet where somebody tried to catch him. Elon Musk did not sell his own Bitcoin. Tesla sold the Bitcoin. So I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I suppose he might not have had a choice. You know, looking at the Tesla numbers, he was probably thinking, "How can I make these numbers a bit more fluffy? Oh, let's just sell some Bitcoin. No big deal."
Yeah. After we have driven it up in the first place.
Fresh off the plate. This is a bit upsetting for me. They made a brand.
Oh, yeah, I know
Which
this.
famous car brand has just halted production due to a chip shortage?
I know. Oh, God.
Michael Caine made the car famous, if you're old enough.
Oh, I would have known the answer to that had you said that. I already wrote my answer.
Oh, that's so close.
Was it
yes,
these
John
guys?
Smith comes in. No, wow, that's so funny. They're not famous. Honda and Toyota are not famous car brands.
Holden is.
Oh, they're old, yeah, but they're not famous.
I heard this the other day.
Up to date information.
Oh, of course.
The Mini.
Of course.
Tricky.
Good question.
Oh, I know that one. That's Jeff. That's Jeff's call.
Yeah, that's my phone.
Do you know what? That's a great question, and I like the clue as well.
Yes. Which 2 countries see the euro as an alternative to the dollar?
Ooh.
I could have put a bit more information in there. They're quite big players on the political scene.
I'm going to say these guys. This is a guess.
Oh, Gary, yes.
Oh.
Yes. Interesting.
Couldn't imagine China wanting an alternative.
I nearly said Russia.
Russia and China.
I nearly said Russia.
Yeah, I had China.
That's
So I
surprising.
got another half, right?
Yeah, whether they actually do it.
I mean, that sounds like a little bit of almost like putting the cat amongst the pigeons. It sounds a bit of horseplay to me.
You think?
I mean, why not gold? You know,
This is true.
Not a country.
Yes, and not be manipulated.
They are.
Doesn't talk back.
Ainsley thinks it's a country, but it's not.
The last question. The last question. It has to be precise. It can't be a bit of something and a bit of the other.
is this like golden goal, John? If you get this right, you win. Because I've only got 1, 2, 3. I've only got 5 right here.
Okay. Paul Bottrell has coached at a national level. Can you name the sport? It needs the precise name.
I'm going to make it a little bit cryptic so nobody can tell.
Jeff is straight at the popping crease.
Oh yeah, I got it.
No, Jeff is on the money. Gary is
What's that insert called?
You should
hold the phone.
Indoor cricket.
Hold the phone. He also.
No, this is the only question. This is the only question. Remember at the beginning I said these are the questions, these are the answers. That's it. This is the score. Is it the democracy? I knew you'd be trouble.
You knew I'd be trouble. Why am I associated with that word? Seriously.
Were you going to say netball, Ainsley?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Do a netball team. Yes, you did.
There's my.
Men don't own up to that.
All right,
I've got a photo of him with them.
Do I get a bite?
I got 6. I don't know. I got 6, but I've got to be honest.
Right.
I saw Jeff's cryptic one, and I did cheat because I wouldn't have remembered it was indoor cricket. So I'm going to say I got 5.5.
I got 6 and 2 halves.
6 and 2 halves.
6 and 2 halves.
Yeah. 6
You
and
did
a half.
well, right? Who won? I bet Swee's normally the winner. So how did you get on, Swee?
Sweet, rugby isn't rugby, isn't it? It was netball and indoor cricket.
He would like to have trained a international rugby team called the All Blacks. But
Sure, especially if they won. So
He
they
does
always
normally,
bloody win.
but he's
What are the
sitting in the
scores?
bar chair.
What are the scores on the doors? What'd you get, A?
I got 6.5.
Oh,
6.5. Jeff got 6 and 2 halves. I got 5.5. So I'm the loser of our team. What did everybody else get? My shout, yeah. I'm hoping somebody got 5. You got half. It's Lewis's shout then. 6.5 for Swee.
See there, Sway. Well done.
I like the way that we've all given ourselves half, even though John didn't say we could have any halves. Subra got 5. Okay, so it looks like John got 6.5 as well. So it looks like Jeff, you're the winner.
yeah.
That means you get to write the quiz next week.
Aren't I lucky? Then I won't be here. That's better still.
And how's our sweep going for Ash's haircut?
Oh yeah, sweep on the date.
Don't know about that.
We're trying to guess when Ash is getting his haircut.
I didn't know about it until Ainsley was in yesterday. You don't have to be
Anyway, moving along.
All right. Well, I reckon we can probably wrap there. Thanks very much, John. That was brilliant, mate. That was a really good quiz.
Thanks, John.
Very.
Has
very
anybody got
enjoyable.
any trades before we go? And mate, thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. I want that screen share.
Anything you wanted to comment on, John, to do with trading at the minute?
I've actually, this is the first month where I've managed to take more out of the market than give back.
Nice, mate. Well done.
mate.
We need a clap sound. And what was that down to, mate?
I believe it or not, I took your tongue-in-cheek joke about what I should trade as silver, and I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a rumble. And I took it from the bottom just after 24 up, and then I sold. And
Nicely done.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Nicely
like the trade that I've watched and taken some money on. So there, that's my.
Why did I say that you should trade silver?
Because of my name, John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a good reason.
That's like picking a Grand National winner on the name, isn't it? or because you like the colours. Okay.
I've done that before and made money. Picked a
Well,
Melbourne
yeah,
Cup winner. Yeah.
I never picked the Grand National winner. Okay, that's awesome, man. Okay, so are we looking at anything else at the minute, or are we just holding on to what we got?
Yeah, I'm just hanging, waiting for the pound to continue its southerly trajectory.
Yeah.
It's going okay. Aussie Cad still looking pretty good. I reckon that's really looking good. Everything else is still waiting for Euro Pound to show its colours. Still waiting on Euro Kiwi. Ooh, or am I? Hang on a second.
You're welcome, Paul.
Euro Kiwi is getting interesting on the 4-hour chart.
You want to show us the chart?
I'll share.
You're looking at inverted head and shoulders though, Jeff.
Well, I've been waiting for this all week, right? I've been waiting for the bounce off the bottom of the range, and it looks now like we may have it. The interesting part is, can I make a case for it? Well, I can make a case for it, but have I got a setup? This bar here is interesting. What am I on? 44 minutes to go. I'll have to wait till this candle closes. Let me get rid of that trade line. But let me make a case for it, right? I'll start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. So one of Gyra's rising channels here, and very, very clearly we are at the base of that channel. We've bounced off it and gone into consolidation since then. And I've been watching this since then, expecting this to break to the high side. Weekly chart hasn't given it to me, but it has defined the range quite clearly. The daily chart has also very, very clearly defined the range, and it is just stuck on these pivots, cannot move. But now I see the potential for a false break here, and it's a false break of this trade line, but it's a little bit on the hairy side. And the reason it is this trade line goes back a long way. There hasn't been a lot of interaction between where March. Is that March this year? Yes, it is. March and now. But you can see where I'm coming from. You should be able to see where I'm coming from. Bounce, break, back above, now a retest. There's an entry there for me. But I have to wait till this candle closes. If it closes as is, I'll place the order. So there'll be a long above that bar. I'll put my stops below the swing. I think that's wise. And I'll take profit just before the monthly pivot. I also think that's wise. So that's the trade. 4-hour chart. Euro Kiwi long above that bar, but this bar has to close either on or below that trade line. And I know you'll have to find that trade line on your own. The level, if it's any higher than, let's say, if it closes any higher than 167, let's say 10, 167.10. If it closes higher than that, I don't want to know about it. But if it closes anywhere below that, I do want to know about, well, providing it's not down here, that's not going to happen. But this looks good to me. It's a pretty clear false break setup. So I'll be looking to trade that. First take profit there. Look, this could go all the way, but I'd be looking to take second profit probably there, get your stops to break even. And if you were really lucky, it'll follow the range and get you some money up in that region. So there you go, Euro Kiwi long. What happened to the yen from Lewis? I don't know. What happened to the yen? Dollar yen. Let's have a look at dollar yen.
If it is, I mean, if we're talking about risk on, risk off, it was from in my opinion, it's the Jerome Powell speech yesterday, Lewis. He was talking about more accommodation, not really looking anytime soon, really, for scaling back the accommodative nature of the balance sheet. And I guess we were on pause for a little while as a potential headwind, but that hasn't provided a headwind. So we're still off to the races. I think the headwind is more likely now to come from the government rather than the central bank.
Okay.
But it's not there yet.
Happy days. So go sell some pound pairs, guys. Just get as much as you can. So to help me out there with those pound pairs, that'd be good. And I think Aussie Cad's going well, as I said. Euro Kiwi, I've been waiting. Actually, I better look at Euro Aussie as well. No, not the same. In fact, quite the reverse. Stuck in no man's land. Righto, I'm done.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. As always, thank you, Ainsley, for joining us today. Thank you to you, mate, as always, for being my trading buddy. And John for the quiz. Angel for your continued support, and all the guys in the room for the messages and all your interaction. It's been a good day, good session today. I will see you Monday. Jeff, you're not in.
No, mate, you've given me the week off to do the things that I have to do on the mainland, and I'll be I may just try and pop in if I can be sober at some stage during the week. I'll do that.
I don't think that's on the agenda.
Probably not going to happen. We'll see.
Okay, mate. Well, have a safe trip.
Enjoy your week with all the guys. Thank you for those who have joined us in the last few days. Really enjoyed your company, and I'll look forward to it. I'll still be doing the previews on the Telegram channel, guys. So I won't be completely out of touch. Have a great week. Indeed, have a great weekend. Thanks, A. Thanks, John. Bye-bye.